Welcome back to the Wizard Shop. Christmas came early. Let's take a look at all the cool things that are coming in for the bus. Let's get started. So welcome back, guys. Things are starting to slowly trickle in that we've ordered for the bus. A lot of items that we need to kind of fit and test fit before we start ordering cabinets and countertops and all these different things. We just finished filming over at the Juke. Now we're over at the bus so we can get some things done on this. We've already got a lot of ideas panned out for countertops and cabinets, but we just don't know the measurements and everything. So really what we had to do is start ordering the things that are going to be in the bus, like the toilet and the tank and different things that have here showed up in these boxes, and kind of set them into place and see what is it going to look like, how much room does it need. So without further ado, let me go get a knife and let's start opening up these boxes. So the first thing we're going to start with is actually the bathroom. We have a toilet and a holding tank here, and let me show you guys kind of the idea that we have for that. Get this out of the box here. This is an 8-gallon holding tank, and you can see that the toilet mounts right on top of it. It actually has the flange and the bolt holes and everything already glued in place, ready to go. So let me set that aside. Let me get the toilet out. We were actually shopping online, looking at various different options for toilets, and they were looking like $4 and $5 and $7 and $1,000. And I do want this to be a nice bus, but if I can save some money, I definitely want to do that. And we were scanning Facebook Marketplace, and someone had this manual flush toilet for $100, $120, something like that. It wasn't very expensive, and it's never been used. It's brand new in the box. So to save 75–80% off the price for a brand new product, that was kind of a no-brainer. Let's go ahead and get this thing out of the box. So here we have the holding tank and actually where it's going to go. I'm going to build some 2x4 framework to have this set inside of it. And like I mentioned, we're going to have a raised floor in the restroom. So you'll stand up in here, and the toilet is literally going to mount directly on top of the holding tank. That's why I purchased it that way. You can see a small hole over there is a vent that gets vented out to the outside. There is a bottom drain which will drain out the bottom of the bus and go towards the sewer. So we can connect to a sewer line at a campsite, and everything can just flow right out into the sewer. I'll go ahead and set the toilet on there, and we'll take a look what it's going to look like. So as you can see, that would be a really tall toilet. Your feet would dangle on the ground if we didn't raise the whole floor. So you will be stepping up into here to use the restroom. One thing that's nice that it's a manual flush toilet is that it requires no power, nothing. If we decide to do any boondocking, there's no power that's needed to run the toilet. We can just manually pump the flush and it works and does its job without any electricity. And the nice thing about this is that it's not a micro tiny little toilet. It's basically the size of a normal toilet. The bathroom will have to come out a little ways so we have room to actually go inside the bathroom. But basically the width will be a little bit bigger than the width of this thing. Enough that a person can fit inside of it and use the bathroom. And we're not going to be spending a lot of time in there. We're not going to be getting dressed in the morning in the bathroom or anything like that. This is strictly just to go to the restroom. So that's the idea that we have for the actual toilet and the holding tank. It's all in one unit. I don't have to run any lines from a toilet to a tank. It really consolidates and saves a lot of room. Everything is right here. I will have to run a water line to this. And maybe we might put a tiny sink or something in there, but other than that, that's all that's going to be in here. Let's go take a look at some more of our Christmas presents. So with the bathroom being right here, it's logical to also have the kitchen right next to it in this open space here. And the largest item that's going to go in that space in the kitchen is the refrigerator. This one's a really nice unit in that it can run off of 12 volts or 120. So if we want battery power only, no problem. If we want to plug in at a campsite, that works as well. Let's go ahead and open this thing up and see what it looks like. So this isn't a huge refrigerator. We're not going to stock it like it's our house. We're going to be in here for 3-5 days or a week. We don't plan on staying in this RV for 3 months at a time. We're not going to do that. So we got this refrigerator here that doesn't take up so much space. It's not tall. And it can run, like I said, 12 volts and 120. One really nice thing about it, and I'll tilt it up here, is it has a small locking mechanism down below, so while we're traveling we can lock it and the door won't swing open and spill the contents out or let them get warm. We don't want them to get warm. But you can see it has an upper area here that would be nice and cold. It's right by the cooling plate. Has some drawers. And plenty of room that we can move some of these shelves around and we could put taller items in or whatnot. So I'll show you the actual power connections here. So you can plug it into 110 with this normal 110 plug. It also has a cigarette lighter auxiliary port plug for 12 volts. So depending on which power source we want to use, we would just power up that particular port and it will run the refrigerator. So going down the road, one thing that will be nice is that we won't have to run a generator or anything to power our refrigerator and keep our food cold. It can run off the 12 volt battery power that the whole bus runs off of anyways. One thing I'll definitely will have is a small bank of batteries and maybe a couple of solar panels so that those items, for some reason, if we have to stop at a truck stop or something overnight, they can still keep things running on the 12 volt circuit without having to plug into anything. So that will definitely be a positive thing to have. The little battery bank we'll be using is called a house bank or house batteries. They will not be used to start the engine or do anything like that. That will have its own battery down below. These will be used to run 12 volt lights, 12 volt refrigerator, any other 12 volt items with solar panels charging it during the day. Also, these items can be used while we're at a campsite with normal plug-in power, because I'll have a charger that charges these batteries as well as the starting battery while we're plugged into campsite power. So we kind of mocked everything up where we think that the refrigerator can go. In between the bathroom and the kitchen will be a cabinet that goes all the way to the ceiling, storage space, and we can run wiring and things down, plumbing and things of that nature through the back side of it. But this will be storage here, and then we'll start a countertop and cabinets here that the refrigerator will sit inside of, and we're thinking of stainless steel countertops, which will look really good with this bus. I don't think this bus would look good with fancy marble or anything like that, or high-end exotic woods or anything crazy like that. So in the kitchen area, you can see where the refrigerator is going to set, and we'll have a sink right around in this area with the plumbing going down behind it. And then we'll have counter space for microwave and everything over there and some storage space beneath. But this gives kind of a layout of where everything's going to go in this area. We're kind of starting right here at the bathroom and working our way out, and then we'll move across to the other side. We have other ideas for the wheel wells and things that we'll talk about in a later video. But now we have a basic idea. This is the bathroom. These are the parts we're going to use in the bathroom. Here's our refrigerator that can do 12 volt or 120 volt. Now we can start building around that. And based on the plan that Mrs. Wizard has made and drawn up, so that it all works out nice in the end. The bus came with a stereo that was mangled and destroyed. I don't know what happened to it, but there's speakers all in the ceiling and there's a CD changer up here in this box that all are working units. So I decided to get a cheap radio. This is off of Amazon. It's made by some company called Gravity. It doesn't have to be expensive. I don't need no $7,000 radio system in my bus. We're not going to be spending that much time in here. We can listen to some music or whatever we need to do without spending a whole bunch of money. This has MP3, SD card. It's 300 watts power. And it didn't cost a whole lot of money. If it somehow got stolen, I wouldn't even care. So that will connect to the CD changer and all the speakers that are in the ceiling. And we can listen to some jams. It has Bluetooth, so once we get it turned on and everything, we don't have to be right there at the radio. We can be sitting back here and streaming music across it. And the dash behind me will have some spots set up with phone chargers and things of that nature so that we can get everything charged that way. A person could spend a lot of money, a lot of time putting a custom sound system in their bus, and we're really not into that much. The bus is going to be a place to sleep, a place to cook food, a place to get out of the rain or out of the weather, but we're not going to be spending all of our time on here. We're kind of outdoor type people. We'll be outside doing things. But that solves the radio issue. Like I said, the old one was mangled. I'm thinking about charging and power, things of that nature. There's one last box. Let me go grab that. So the starting battery that starts the engine, which will not be part of the house battery system, but the main starting battery on this bus is dead. It doesn't hold a charge. It's trash. I got a charger running just to run the lights. But this is no small little battery like that's in your Ford car or Chevy car or whatever. This is a huge 8D battery. It literally weighs like 150 pounds. I can lift it myself, but it's quite a bit of weight. Really, 2 people should carry it. I'll be pulling this one out and installing the new one here pretty soon because that one is garbage. I don't know how old it is, and really it doesn't matter. I just know it won't hold a charge. These batteries are like $300, $350. They're not cheap, but they're not super expensive either. The batteries we'll be using in the house battery system will be lithium batteries. But for the starting battery, it doesn't need to be anything expensive or fancy. All this is going to do is start the engine. That's it. So that will take care of that issue there. Thinking of also power and charging things, I've got one more box to open, and it's going to be the cord we're going to use to plug into campsite power. So I've chosen the style of power we're going to use. It's going to be 50 amp, 220 volt, or 240, whatever you want to call it. That'll be plenty of power to run a mini split system, which will be in a future video, but we're going to be installing mini split air conditioning and also heat. That will be a 230 volt or 220 volt system. There may be a few other items on there that might be higher voltage, but that gives us plenty of power to run all of the accessories and everything. Here we have a 50 amp. It does 125 or 250 volt power cord with a junction box. Here is the junction box. I'll get it out of here for you to see. So here it is. This is where the actual cord will plug into the bus, and it has a weatherproof cover. I will be mounting this in a manner that only this part is exposed on the bus. This box will actually be behind a wall. And you'll be able to close this and it's out of the weather. The only part we'll be seeing is this outside part here. On the other side, I'll run the main power cord to a fuse box and then from there to around the bus. But this will be what we actually plug our cord into wherever we decide to put it. And this is our beefy 50 amp cord. This thing is heavy, guys. I could lift weights with this and actually, wow. But it has the 4-prong huge 50 amp 250 volt connector that goes, this will go to the campsite pedestal. And this will actually plug into the bus itself. And in with it came a bag to store the cord in. It's got little campers on it, Mrs. Wizard.
It's adorable.
Very nice. So in this video we solved where's the toilet going to be, how are we going to route it, or what are we going to use as a holding tank. We have found out where the refrigerator is going to go and what style of refrigerator we're going to use. We have talked about the radio, how that thing's going to work, also the starting battery, how big of a battery it is, and how we're going to run power into the bus. Now we definitely have our work cut out for us to start building a frame, and we're going to build the bathroom first. Get that all built, and then from there we can figure out where everything else is going to go. But it's kind of strange that everything in this bus will be established off of the bathroom, and it'll grow from there. So if you're curious what kind of tools we're using in this project, check my Amazon affiliates link in the description below. We use these tools all in the shop as well. We get a small cut and we really appreciate it. And make sure to hit the subscribe button because there's still more parts and more things coming for the bus. We've got tons of work to go. Thanks for watching.